Shackleton wanted to give everybody a little update on the progress on the NAPCO chassis. So thought today I'd just do a little walk around now that we got the engine back in. And here's pretty much the progress. We've got the core support in, the record radiator. This is the original radiator. Soldered all the cracks up, put a new core in it. Not cheap, but it's definitely the original radiator, which is nice to have. Got the suspension all done. I found these nice tow hooks on eBay for 20 bucks. Ordered some springs, which cost 80 bucks. And we now got some badass tow hooks on the front. Got the motor all in. Bead blasted the intake and exhaust manifolds. Put those in. Rebuilt the carburetor. Redid the air bath oil filter. Plumbed all this with proper stainless steel lines. Put the oil filter back in play. That had just been capped off, so we got that back on. I did not rebuild the generator because it looked like it was pretty much had already been rebuilt. So I repainted it, but kept that original. Rebuilt the steering column, subject of another video earlier on. And it's just sitting in there temporary because I'll have to take that out to put the cab on. I'm waiting on the springs. So I got the spring shackles in place, but I've been waiting on Eaton Spring to make them now for about 3 months. So hopefully they'll be coming along soon. Got the accelerator pedal back in. Got the master cylinder back in. That's all been rebuilt. The new pistons ready to go. Got all the brake pedals ready to go, and got the brake lines and the fuel lines all built. So these are all stainless steel fuel lines. I've got them run back in where they're supposed to go. Got the four-wheel drive shifter in place. The rebuilt transfer case, also a subject of an earlier video. I got webbing in place. I went ahead and put webbing down just to make sure there was as few as possible squeaks on this thing. And this big hole in the middle is where this winch is going to go. So I'm waiting on some brackets. I had the plasma cutter make. This is going to be kind of cool. This is going to be the engagement lever for the PTO drive. So it'll come right out through the side of the extra long steps. So the winch will be right here in the center, and this will be the control mechanism to engage and disengage it. And got all the bed sills painted. I think originally the underside of these beds were not even painted, but I think it looks nice to look up underneath there and see the contrast. So I painted these bed color, and got those all secured. Got everything ready. Same thing, waiting on springs on the back. I came in and filled. You know, there was some light rust. I don't know, you probably can't really see it. See if I can get some glare here. But I came in the sides where you could see these, and I put some light filler on all the bed sides and the under areas where you see. This filler is just, you know, Z-grip body filler, and I just skimmed it and then sanded it down flat so that it'd be nice and smooth and have a good new look on the sides and underside when you get up underneath there and look at it. And you recall that we came in and filled. This is where all that winch stuff was. We came in and the welder laid a bead right in here, and we blended that back in, filled in all the holes. And you'll recall we had to come in and add these frame rails on. So I had these bent to the same profile as the existing frame rail, as it had been chopped off right behind here. So we made a new cross member, riveted that all back in like it's supposed to be, and added this piece, pre-drilled all the holes. So this has all got, you know, nice new steel. Got the bumper brackets mounted on here to take the new bumper. So everything on this thing is pretty much ready to go. I do have the front end and rear end rebuilt. Got all the brakes back in it. Got the axles back in it. Brakes are actually pretty easy. They're pretty simple and pretty easy. Stainless lines back here as well. You may recall that the pumpkin cover had this massive dent in there, so I straightened out that dent. Got that all fixed up, and got all these brake lines ran. So new bearings in the hubs. Everything's ready to go on this. I'm just waiting on the spring to drop it in. And for the front axle, we got this all put back together. Got the brakes all in. Again, these were actually pretty simple. Got the four-wheel drive mechanism all built. Got new bearings in all the hubs. The tie rod back together. Got new seals and all these pieces. Got new felts in the planetary knuckles. And got the drum housings on. No problem. They slipped right on, so this thing's ready to go as soon as we get the springs back in. And then on this side of the motor, got everything ready to go except the transmission. I found out when I put it back together, there's a little spring that holds that clutch paw onto the ball, and that little spring was broken, and I had not caught that when I took it apart. So ordered a new spring, and should be here in a day or two, and then we'll get the transmission put back in and clutch plate. Got everything here. I did not rebuild the starter because it looked like it had just been rebuilt, and but did get everything else. Put a new coil in it, rebuilt all the distributor, rebuilt the vacuum system, repainted the fuel pump. It was new, so I just repainted the top. The bottom half is cast, but I put a new paint job on the top so it all be fresh. Got the oil breather in place, new plugs, new gaskets, new hoses, top and bottom. Had a little bit of a trouble finding this hose on the bottom, but I'll give you the number here in a minute, and then I had to just cut it a little bit to fit. So this was the lower radiator hose. I had a hard time finding this, but 205/84 Gates hose. Just took a little bit of modification, cutting it on both ends to make it fit right. So if you need a hose, that's the right hose. Everything about the chassis is pretty much done, other than just to take a couple hours to mount up the transmission and put the springs on when they get here. And so the chassis is pretty much a wrap. We'll move back to body work from here forward. So that's the update. And as an epilogue to the chassis video, since I made the video and before I could get it post-produced to make the YouTube, I did get the little clip that was broken on the clutch paw. So right down here is this clutch paw that goes in and engages on the throwout bearing. And there's a little clip that holds that in, and this is the clip. And you can see one ear is broken off. And this little place where this ear is broken off is all rounded off. So it's been broken for some time, but an 86-cent part. I got that in, put the paw back together, got the original little leather boot back on it, transmission all installed, got the PTO drive for the winch installed, and the drive shaft installed. So this is all buttoned up, everything works. And if anybody's wondering why these are red, aside from the contrast just looks cool, that's what color these things originally were. So I could tell on both of these when I took the NAPCO nameplate off, it was red underneath the nameplate. And on this little Chelsea PTO unit, it was red also under some areas where it couldn't have been repainted. So got this all buttoned up. And the chassis for the most part complete, other than hooking up the rear axle springs, which I'm waiting on.
Download the Resto-Rat app today to begin managing, tracking, and documenting your restoration project.